You should never be at a point to where you view your opinion as superior over anything and everyone else's. Like, so we're back. Now we will continue to the video. If I can find it. Jesus. Yep. Okay. 33 minutes so far I have watched, and I have recorded over about 2 hours worth of my videos. So it's taken a little time for me to get through this. I'm going to try to do a little bit better today, though.
Asking because I want to live there. I'm writing about this in my book. The way that white people talk about race without ever coming out and talking about race. She had a very interesting response to that. I wouldn't want you to live there because it's too far away from me. When I ask if the neighborhood is black, she's comfortable confirming that it is. But when I tell her that I'm interested in how whites talk about race without talking about race, she switches the narrative. Now her concern is about not wanting me to live so far away. This is a classic example of aversive racism, holding deep racial disdain that surfaces in daily discourse, but not being able to admit it because the disdain conflicts with our self-image and professed beliefs.
Oh my God, dude! Like the trap this woman has set for her friend. This is her friend. This is her friend. Apparently. Wow.
Now, readers may be asking themselves, but if the neighborhood is really dangerous, why is acknowledging this danger a sign of racism? White people will perceive danger simply by the presence of black people. We cannot trust our perceptions when it comes to race and crime. Toni Morrison uses the term race talk to capture, quote, the explicit insertion into everyday life of racial signs and symbols that have no meaning other than positioning African Americans into the lowest level of the racial hierarchy. Race talk always implies a racial us and them.
When it comes to any of this, it's about what mindset do you have. And I don't think because of the color of your skin, you're going to, in turn, society is going to make you have this sort of mindset because your skin is, no. It's not how it works. Not all women are these extreme leftist feminists that just want all men to die and think that women can do no wrong. Not all conservatives are these extreme right-wing racists who think all white people are superior and think that we need to just literally euthanize the rest of the races. Like, to think that you can't just fit everyone into these groups like this because there are far more nuances and variables within these groups and sectors than something as simple as just one blanketed statement. I think that's what really pisses me off about this whole thing is she just has such a blanketed viewpoint of pretty much all. It seems like what it seems to me is like all of the races. It's like white people, you're racist. If you're white, you just are. You're privileged, you're racist. That's just how it is. Black people, you're oppressed and you're victimized, and that's just how it is. It doesn't matter about just how it is when you live in this world. So it's like any type of thinking like that for an entire sector of people like that is just ignorant. I'm sorry, it is. It is an ignorant way of thinking, and I genuinely cannot understand how people can just eat this up. Like, yes, just tell me that everyone is just this one type of way. Dude.
And I do tend to think in metaphors. And as I do the work that I do and I talk on a daily basis to white people, I literally got this image in my mind of a dock or a pier. And what it signifies for me are two things. One, how surface or superficial our narratives are. But also the dock, if you look from above, appears to be floating on the water. It rests on literally pillars anchored into the ocean floor. And everything I do in my work is trying to get us off the top of the dock and under there to examine those pillars. Because despite all the bullshit on top of the dock, our outcomes have not changed. So as I listen to these narratives, I think about them in two overall categories: colorblind and color celebrate. Colorblind, probably the number one colorblind racial narrative is, I was taught to treat everyone the same. Anybody ever heard that one? Okay. Let me just tell you, when I hear this from a white person, and I hear it frequently,
When I hear this, just from a white person, now anybody else, you're cool. You're cool.
There's
just
a
white
bubble
people.
over my head. And it has a few things in it. The first thing is, oh, this person doesn't understand basic socialization. This person doesn't understand culture. Ooh, this person is not particularly self-aware. Right? And I need to give a heads up to the white folks in the room. When people of color hear us say this, they're generally not thinking, all right, I am talking to a woke white person right now. And actually, I recently co-facilitated with a black woman who said, that is the most dangerous white person to me. Okay? So it's not functioning the way we think it is, and this is another piece of humility for us. We are the least qualified to determine whether we understand this or not. Right? Because so often the things that we think convey that are not conveying that. And all of these are within that, it's in the past, just everyone's struggle.
This woman.
My parents weren't racist, that's why I'm not racist. Oh, my parents were racist, that's why I'm not racist. Doesn't matter really what we say first, what comes next must be I'm not racist.
Okay, so pretty much, oh God, dude. No matter what, you're a racist, dude. You're just racist. Get over it, okay? You're a oh God, the logic. And it's like, she's sitting here talking about culture. Do you not understand how many different sects of white there are? Over here, we are so trapped within our own little American bubble. It's like we don't even understand what the is going on outside of it, dude. We are so closed-minded into this Americanized, white people. Dude, white people are not just Americans. That is not white people. Okay, even in within America, you can't just say white people. That's just white people are all just no. You tard. Like there are so many different variations between the cultures in white people, like to the point to where they've had wars over these cultures. Britain and Ireland, dude, there has been shit going on far longer than any of us have been alive, and it had nothing to do with the color of their skin. How do you guys come to these boxed in type of mindsets about any culture out there? Not just white. I mean, anybody's culture, Middle Eastern, whatever. You think that Arabians think the exact same as the Pakistanians do? Like, are you? No, they don't. It's like, oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Like, is it that hard to understand? There is that there is different variations of types of people based on how you're raised, where you're from, what you're brought up around. Like, it's not just. No one just looks at their skin. I'm black now, so this is now how I act. Dude, the stupidity behind these thoughts is mind-boggling. The fact that she has become this just well-known and out there and just constantly looked at as a source of education of any type is insane to me.
Say first, what comes next must be I'm not racist.
God.
So-and-so just happened to be, but it has nothing to do with race. And it also has nothing to do with why no one in the office gets along with her. And this is another one I actually asked white folks to remove from their vocabulary. Oh, by the way, along with reverse racism, which there's no such thing. Right? All right.
You know what? I'll agree with her. There is no such thing as reverse racism because there is just one type of racism. That's it. When you view your race as superior than everyone else who's outside of your race, that's it. That's it. There's no like, oh, if you're white, you have the power to be racist. So with this power, you can lord over others, and if you're black, you can judge anyone of any other type of race because you don't have power and it's not racist. No. There's very, very, very many Asian countries that are extremely racist to a point to where even within their own country, if you live in a different part of the country, you are considered less than. This is stupid. Again, another stupid point. Ding!
Give me a boy's name that starts with the letter H.
Jose.
Like,
vocabulary anything on the topic of race that begins with just happen to be regardless, including that your neighborhood just happened to be white? Right? Yes, but at the human level, when we make that move, right? Get race off the table and let's position some kind of shared universal experience. There isn't one in this physical plane that we live in a society deeply separate and unequal by race.
Okay, so you're saying you can't have a shared human experience with someone because society is so divided based on race that you are literally, if someone is a different race than you, you're not able to share life experiences and emotions and things like that based on your shared life experience, not based on just because you guys look the same? Doesn't happen in this America. It doesn't happen. Does not
So
not
I call
a thing.
these
Not a
colorblind
thing.
because
Thank
they
you.
basically
Please
say,
continue.
I don't see it.
Please
and if I see it, it has no
continue.
meaning. And there's a question that has never failed me in my efforts to uncover how we pull this off. Right? And that question is not, is this true or is this false? Because if we apply that question, we're going to argue and argue and argue. The question that has never failed me is, how do these narratives function in the conversation?
So instead of understanding if something is true or not, your first go-to is, how does this function within the conversation? Before you go through the process of understanding, is this a true statement? So you just completely just go right around true or false. You just navigate right around that and instead go to your point. How in any way is that beneficial for a conversation? If you literally avoid any kind of truth or untruth and instead just go to, like, what are the subtleties behind the actual words that you're saying in this conversation, and what does that really mean about you on the inside and what you actually think about things that might happen outside of this conversation that might have to do with people that are not exactly the same as the ones inside of this conversation, that might have to do with color, gender, race, base, or who knows what else. No. What? No, that is not how you have a conversation. That's not how you have any kind of discussion, let alone especially a debate about something. Somebody says something and somebody's like, "Oh no, that's actually not true at all." Well, let's not talk about if it's true. Let's talk about how it made everyone in here feel, though, when I said that, after I said something that actually at the end of it isn't even true. The feelings you have are also false because the information itself was not the truth. But let's talk about these false feelings. Why did you have these false feelings? This mindset that you think you know more. And to a point to where if anyone else debates or combats this information, you look at them as simply ignorant. Not to a point to where you're trying to listen to someone else's opinion, bring it in, maybe a little bit of a checklist, good or bad, pros or cons, how this weighs out against each other in your head about your own opinion versus what they have stated in their opinion, and now how that affects you. Instead, when you hear someone else's opinion, that part of your brain just says, they don't understand. They don't have the knowledge I do. They haven't had the same experiences I've had. And their brain's not able to comprehend the same level of intelligence that I'm able to at this point in my life. And it's just like, when you are at this level of Kanye West superiority in your mind.
Like, I am a god. Everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was. A god. I just told you. That's who I think I am.
I don't see anyone bringing you back to earth. Like, she is at this level to where she truthfully believes, not just what she says, but she truthfully believes that anything against what she says is ignorant. How is that not a dangerous place to be in anyone's life, in anyone's type of profession? You should never be at a point to where you view your opinion as superior over anything and everyone else's. Like that will leave you open to make so many mistakes throughout your life, your career, whatever, simply because you're not able to have someone to just be like, yo, that's stupid. Because a lot of times we do things that are stupid that we're not able to see because we're so close to the subject that we're not able to have that viewpoint whenever you kind of take a step back and look at it and see the entire situation for what it is. That's why you need friends, you need family, you need people in your life that genuinely care about you, that will tell you you're wrong whenever you're doing something stupid, or tell you your opinion might be a little bit off on certain topics. I would only imagine she associated herself with people who mainly agree with her.
If we ask that question, we can see that all of these narratives function
How does
to
it function?
exempt the person from any part of the problem. All of them take race off the table. All of them close rather than open the exploration. And in doing that, all of them protect the current racial hierarchy and the white position within it.
Trying to say that you view someone by their character instead of by their skin color, and that's a bad thing because in turn you're ignoring what? Their hardships due to their skin color? So you want people to ignore the bad that black people have done, ignore all that because that's not their fault, but you need to completely, wholeheartedly pay attention to all the suffering that they've had and all the hardships that they've gone through. Because again, that's not their fault. So it's still this level of just inferiority that that she's looking at people of color as. That's what it seems to me, at least, that they are unable to think for themselves. They're unable to have enough individuality to not be characterized by what other black people have done or what's going on in the community or, what TV or fucking songs say that black people are. You're saying like that's wrong to do. It's wrong to look at someone as an individual. It's wrong when Martin Luther King said this.
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
That's not good. That's not what we want. We need to view people on race. We need to break it down into a pattern of, you're this race, you're this type, do you need to do this?
It doesn't have to be your intention. And I'll just be blunt. I'm not interested in your intention. I'm interested in how this functions. What is the impact of...
I think that's the problem right there. What she just said right there is the problem today. People are not interested in the intention. The intention doesn't mean shit anymore. All that matters is what you said and how that made me feel. How did that make me feel? It doesn't matter what the intention of what you said was. No. I don't care. I don't care if I didn't hear the last 30 minutes of what she just said, but I heard 30 seconds of this, and now I'm going to judge you accordingly on just that. Because out of context, it sounds like you're a racist piece of shit, but if you hear the entire thing, then it might sound a little different. Because the intentions of you saying that was to set up a point, or was to be maybe even satire that this is wrong. That doesn't matter about intentions. All that means nothing. What the fuck? We are to a point where we're openly saying context, truth, intentions mean nothing. The only thing that means something apparently nowadays is how does that make me feel? Wow, dude. Wow. Unbelievably childish type of thinking. Unbelievably.
These narratives, they are closers, not openers. Well, probably the folks in this room, we're beyond colorblindness, right? What do we say?
You're saying it.
We say things like this. Oh, I work in a very diverse environment.
Is that really what do people actually say that? I work in what does that have to do with anything? You can literally work with someone and never have a full conversation with that person. If someone calls you racist and your response is, I work with a whole bunch of different types of people, I think even you, after saying that, would realize how stupid of a defense that is. After saying that, you would just be like, oh, well, that doesn't really change anything about how I feel about someone.
I have people calling my family. Me? I'm not racist. I used to live in New York. I'm not racist. I was in the military. Apparently there are no racism in any of those places. When I hear that, when I used to live in New York, I was thinking, oh my God, you walked by people of color and didn't lose your shit. That's amazing. And I want you to notice how often white people invoke proximity as evidence. This is important because it helps reveal what's under the dock.
Because obviously white people, they can't live under the dock.
Okay, the first layer is just a bit of like white privilege whipped cream. Okay.
And you sprinkle a little bit of, whiteness on the top.
And then the second layer, okay, this is where we have our white guilt. This is a delicious layer. When you sink your teeth into that one, woo, your sweet tooth gonna go on fire. Then you got the third layer. This is where the other minorities lie, and they pretend their dealing is bad, as they're the black people, but they're not. And then you got your fourth layer. This is where the gays reside, and I'm kind of in there because I'm gay, but I'm black, so I'm on the other layer. But let's talk. Fourth layer, okay? This layer you really want to get a little bit of a taste of because we love to party. Do you like to party? Woo! And then, okay? And then you got your fifth layer, okay? Am I Rossi's? Of course, this is the best layer. It's the fifth layer, okay? This is where the base of the cake happens. Hey, this is where you get in and you sink your teeth and you're like, what's up, nigga? Right? And so you're here and you're just like, oh my God, okay, this is where there's like the least amount of privilege because it's supporting the rest of society, but it doesn't even get seen. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah? How do you like them layers? Okay.
No white person can have a hard life because if you're white, you're automatically superior.
So let's do some discourse analysis. Let's think critically about these three narratives. When a white person invokes one of these narratives in a conversation about racism, they're giving you their evidence, right? In my mind, what's that my evidence of? I'm not racist. So apparently a racist cannot do these things, or this wouldn't be good evidence. So a racist cannot work 3 cubicles down from a person of color, could not have people of color in their family, and would find living in New York intolerable, even though I could think of at least one racist that lives in New York. So, okay. So I'm going to just ask a rhetorical question to the people of color in this room, and I'm going to look at my dear friend Aisha over there and Paula, and I'm going to say, could a racist work 3 cubicles down from you? Hell yes. All right. People of color, do you have white people in your life who you love deeply and who on occasion reveal their internalized racial superiority? Their internalized racist assumptions about the world?
White people, do you have anyone in your life that's black that you love dearly that on occasion internalizes their racial superiority? Because I know for a fact black people think they're better dancers. I know for a fact black people think they're better fighters. I know for a fact black people think they can beat almost any white person at basketball. And me saying that, does that not sound a little f***ed up? To think that I know all black people think that they can beat all white? No. Because of course that's not how it is. The hypocrisy in this mindset is like literally making it so black people can be as elitist, racist, everything that they want, with actually more encouraged to feel this way. You should be encouraged to feel like you're superior, you're better, you're greater than other people based on your race. That is not a good mindset for anyone to have. And you are promoting this mindset, which is, first off, you can't be racist. Secondly, you are a victim. And thirdly, all white people are racist towards you, specifically. The negativity. This is not helping anyone. There are people out there trying to actually convert real racist to stop being racist. And this is not the way they're doing it. Do you understand that? They are actually changing people's viewpoints on the world as a whole. And you are going around telling people, no, all white people are like this. All black people are like this. And you're just ignorant if you don't agree. And you think that is how you show people, is to tell them, no, you're a racist. You're always going to be a racist. And until you understand that you're a racist, you're never going to start being a good person. You really think people are going to just be like, oh, you're right. I shouldn't think of black people as being violent. I should have more of an open mind because I'm a racist.
Other white people, do you hear that? Could you even be married to them? And they could still? It doesn't disappear the day they fall in love with you? Okay.
Okay, I'll kind of agree on that a little bit. I do think you can be married to someone and still be, I guess, racist in a sense. If you marry one and then you're like, yeah, you're one of the good ones. Yeah, that might be, you might be kind of inching towards prejudice type of viewpoint. But it would take a lot, I would think, for you to actually keep a hold of your racism, marry someone of that race, and actually have a strong, loving relationship with them. Like, I would think it would be pretty challenging to do that. Now, an abusive relationship, if you're abusive towards them and you're racist, yeah, I mean, be pretty easy. Work out well for you. So, I mean, I can kind of see what you're saying on that one.
And clearly this rests on that, on that simplistic definition. Apparently a lot of white people think that a racist cannot tolerate any proximity, even the sight of people of color. And so if there's any friendliness across race, there cannot be racism.
She's being very confused with the definition of racism and prejudice. Because, yes, I would imagine a racist would feel, I mean, even disgusted to even work with someone who they consider inferior or whatnot. They might not vocally say it, but they definitely feel it and think it. And they would probably go out of their way to avoid this person by any means necessary. I mean,
I'm just going to put it right out here. As a result of being born and raised as a white person in this culture, I have a racist worldview. I have deep racist biases. I have developed racist patterns. And I have investments in a system that has served me very well and is very comfortable for me and have really helped me get over sexism and classism that I struggle with. And I also have investments in not seeing any of that, for what it would mean for my identity and what it would require of me in action.
I love how she had to bring in her struggles at the end there, too. Like, I still struggle with sexism and classism. Like, it's still hard for me. Is that how you allow yourself to be a good person now, as you just come out? I am a racist, and I have benefited off my race. I don't see how that helps anything or anyone. If anything, just makes your life a lot harder when it comes to just your day-to-day doings, because you're constantly judging yourself on every action as a form of racism. But as a whole, I don't see how that helps anyone. If anything, you are now going to be more biased towards black people because you are constantly have this in your head. You constantly have this mindset in your fucking head of every race means something, race always race. So that's all you're going to think about, all you're going to see.